one of my biggest fears as a person is a fundamental misalignment. I think this project especially has really brought that fear out again. I think about it in my career. I think about it in general stuff like, oh, if I'm in an environment, have I fundamentally misunderstood something? Have I misunderstood the social context, all of that? I think a good example is kind of like Interstellar. There's a scene where they go to this planet and they're trying to see if there's one of their crewmates is there. And it's like, wow, there's a bunch of mountains and it's really cool, really pretty. And they realize it's actually not mountains, it's ocean waves because like a different planet with different gravity or something. And the ocean waves like size of mountains and they're about to come their way and then Anne Hathaway starts moving slowly and the guy that saves Anne Hathaway also starts moving. Point is there's a fundamental misalignment and I worry about that. I think this project has really shown me that I'm very much on that planet Interstellar. I think what happens every time is that I run into a problem and I research the problem, I break a couple of things, I learn a couple of things, and then I look deeper, then I realize I'm on a those are not like mountains, those are waves. I think it's happened with the wire architecture. It's happening again now because I'm trying to do the Lego brick thing. And as I've been looking into it, I think the question has now evolved from just discovering pure geometry to there is stuff on just pure geometry. Like with a Lego brick, I really don't know. I don't have a Lego brick with me. I have Legos, but it's not a Lego brick. With Lego bricks, they're more discrete. The pattern is not as simple. And what that means is that I want to try adding a better decoder. Like if you have a variation, or I guess auto encoder, you have like the encoder, you have the latent space, you have the decoder. I want to try improving the decoder. The issue with that is that if it's not as simple, it kind of really doesn't generalize. It doesn't really learn new geometries. But the issue with just like the pure Gen architecture is that it doesn't really work well for stuff like Lego. Lego is it's a grammar. I think that's not my words. It's ChatGPT, but I kind of like it. So it has its own rules, right? So it's not like it's not like the shoot. I'm forgetting it. There's Plato's theorem where it's essentially, oh, if you put water and if you put this in soapy water, it finds the minimal surface. This is more so something like there's been intentional human choices behind it. And I don't know if the gen architecture works as well for it. I did make some adjustments. I basically got rid of a lot of the, I basically turned off a lot of the losses that came with the gen architecture and made my own because I realized there are a lot of them were kind of encoding the shape itself, and that sucks if I'm trying to train on. Like, let me just use like 1x2 and let me use a 2 stud brick and a 4 stud brick. What kind of happens that those like really conflict? Because if it's like really just learning the shape, right? They're running two different shapes, and it's really bad. So basically, I tried to I created new losses to improve that. I also got rid of the studs for now. I just want to see how it works on keyboards, just to see if the fundamentals are working. So I'm practicing with that, and I have a I have a training session going on right now. I've prayed over it a bunch of times because I really do hope it works because it would be amazing and it'll make my life a bit easier, especially since the deadline is in about 48 hours, 48 hours and 30 minutes. So hopefully that's the case. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't think it's a hopeless situation. I think it's just a situation of really trying to understand what I want to do. I think there's this ego idea with it where it's like, you kind of want to be this fictional character that has some novel breakthrough that changes everything. But it's more so an iterative process where it's like, it's one step at a time. And that's where I'm struggling with this I guess, mini world project and where I want to take it. Because if I go on improving the whole gen thing, then it's less about, okay, can you understand can you create a mini world of a grammar, right? Grammar will be a technology that has its own rules. So phones have their rules, Legos have their rules, water bottles have their rules. Can you create a mini world that understands that grammar? Or can you create a architecture that a model can learn novel shapes and designs that satisfy constraints, right? And those seem different. Those do. I was saying those words in conjunction with one another. I felt like some excitement. I felt like some idea for me. So I don't know if that helps. I think Walsh, like the idea was for me was the mini wall thing, because my thing is that I want mini wall to kind of generalize. I want to be able to work on many shapes. That's why I can't do the pivot to Legos because there's many different categories within Lego. I'm not going to do plans, but there's many categories with Legos. But when I was saying the mini wall thing, it does make a good point because if yeah, everything has its own grammar, um, a mini wall can essentially, like, not perfectly, but let's say 99% can operate in any grammar. That would not just be a matter of I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say, wouldn't like the grammars be like the elements almost, where it's like, okay, it knows how to generalize into different grammars, right? But I don't know if it works like that. I don't think it could. Maybe I should just focus on developing the grammar. The cool thing about my new world is that if I do go with the whole route of improving the coder and making it more do more stuff with it essentially, then I guess I can say one step beyond or adjacent to Gin, and it's not just an extension of the Gin research. So I was like, I think actually at this point, I've completely altered the whole Gin architecture. So it's like I no longer have to say I barely did anything, which is nice. The sucky part about it is that I don't know if it works, so maybe I should go back to main Gin architecture. Um, but yeah, I think as I've talked in this video for about 6 minutes and 7 seconds, 6 7, I've come to the conclusion I'm just gonna go with the decoder option where I improve the decoder, even though it's not gonna generalize really well to a bunch of new novel designs. I do think if it can fully understand the grammar of a technology, let's say Legos, then that would help in the generative design process, and it could allow for more exploration, and maybe one day it will be able to have one model, one system that does generalize to other grammars. Like it could quickly pick up on the grammar of a new technology, right? Make it out generative design. What I really wanted with this was like, if I learned the grammar of Legos and if I learned the grammar of water bottles, then I could easily interpolate into a Lego water bottle following this grammar. But that doesn't seem to be the case yet. So maybe it's just one step at a time. Science is an iterative process. So let me just do my step, and maybe I do the next step, maybe someone else does the next step, and we go from there. Besides that, though, I have nothing else to say, so have a great day.